him killed by that. Let me switch off, make sure this thing is. Shosho. Papa le mkhodu is the best meal.
What? I robot that thing.
We're live.
Papa le mogodu.
Okay, we're in frame and everything, ne? Hello, internet.
Because my boy, le mogodu.
Yeah, just open it a little bit.
What's the time now?
I'm sitting with content creators. I can't.
What's the time now? Quarter past.
I'm gonna run
10 to 12.
Yeah, it's 10 to 12.
Okay. Camera rolling.
Aye.
In 5.
Make it 45.
Yeah, 45.
45 minutes.
Oh, projects.
He's doing something. Bro, Jeezy.
Okay, I think we're good. Okay, Simnandi, ne? We're good. Welcome everybody to another episode of Threeman Press, a place where we've brought together some of the top minds in African football. And today, we've got actually somebody who's been in the game for a very long time, but we're going to get to that. Guys, remember, please, to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and then, of course, join us with the press. The point of this is not for us to be right or to tell you the lay of the land, but it's for you guys to come into the comments and have these conversations there and everywhere else. And please support. As always, I've got Football Talefang on this side, and then, of course, I'm George Mokoena, aka Overthinking Football, and today we welcome Upracheks.
Prachizi.
Award-winning journalist, award-winning. Hey, Upracheks knows.
Legend.
He knows everything about everything.
Legend.
Upracheks, there's nothing he doesn't know.
Encyclopedia.
Upracheks, welcome.
Sure.
Join the lady content.
Content creators. Yeah, I'm selling out today. I'm sitting with the content
Hey, man,
creators.
what is selling out?
No. Yeah, thanks, guys.
I like
nice
that.
to sit with you guys.
I like that you started there, Pracheks, because content creation is something that is our generation's thing.
Yes.
And a big thing that we speak about is how do we bring the PSL into, our realm.
Yes.
As people who maybe grew up watching Liverpool, Manchester City, and all of the Manchester United, not City, grew up. And there's a big conversation about whether the PSL is actually good and why people should be watching. I know, Talefang, your opinion has been that it's tough to watch this thing.
Yeah, look. Sometimes you're like, okay, she be laying here. Because now when you watch the game, because I've always watched the Premier League, right? What's the Premier League, Serie A, and then a bit of La Liga. So now, because get a span, but Antana Sheba PSL, but George, but Sheba PSL. I'm like, okay. So now, when I coached in Tuana, so now I'm getting into PSL a little bit, but it's also a difficult watch because sometimes our decision making and execution, you're like, why is this happening? And that's been the complaint with myself, with younger people that I coach. But coach, why should I watch? What's this? It's Kukune, bro. Why should I watch Kukune? I don't know. Outside of patriotism, I'm not too sure. So now I'm here wanting to understand if you can make a case for the PSL, what would it be to get younger people to watch the PSL?
So I first want to ask you, when you're looking at this thing, from the outside looking in,
Yes.
maybe give a little bit of a description of what you think the PSL is. Then we can go from there. So like when you just describe it to somebody, what do you think you'd say?
Well, I mean, when you describe it to somebody, is mnandi, but can't really execute and win games efficiently. That's what I see, right? As that's what's been sold to us, even from the days about showboating and so on and so forth, right? I used to be also this thing of wanting to go score 5 goals instead of scoring 2 hata ball. Why are we doing that, right? Okay. That has been my thing. So that's what I've been educated in. But as time has progressed, there's actually value at times, but at sometimes it's inefficient. That's how I see it. So when I watch the PSL, I get okay, as just a broad thing, simnandi, but in terms of execution of certain actions, rapalo not as efficient.
I'm gonna press you just now, but I wanna bring Projects in. Projects. I think from your perspective, what makes the PSL something that you consume?
Okay, so
maybe from.
Yeah, I get what Talefang is saying. So I grew up watching South African football. It's almost natural. I mean, I often meet with a guy, a black guy, always when I see favor A. And a guy will say Liverpool. I'm like, no, favor A.
Yeah.
You know? And
I didn't ask you what you support.
Or Gram trust a favorite club high. And it's for me as a black guy who grew up in South Africa, it's like very strange. But it's different generations, I think. I think your generation grew up, your exposure, a lot of them, your first exposure is your English Premier League, it's your Spanish football, and the football there is very different. So when you then come and watch the PSL, you'll think, but it's slow. My son, I mean, my son is 25, supports Liverpool. He does not support the local club because he says, Dad, your football is boring. That's what he says.
Yeah.
I am different because my first exposure when I grew up as local football, you speak about issues, they call it showboating. I don't think it's showboating, it's how we play. And I'm taken back and I realize why South African football was how it was. During apartheid, we competed with no one. It was just here.
Yeah.
I grew up, watched Jomo Sono, Ace Mnini. That old Orlando Stadium, if Ace Mnini took the ball, Shibo was somebody. Whether he goes forward or he goes to score, didn't matter. It's
entertainment.
Yeah. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
Yes. Zayn Musa would, like you say, it will be 0-0. And Zayn Musa will get the ball and and the crowd would go crazy. And that's what we liked. People got excited about it. But then we get into international football, the exposure to international football, and you look at, the Germans, they do 3-4 passes, it's a goal.
Yeah.
Because the reality of football is, what's the purpose? To put the ball in your opposition net more than they do into yours.
Yeah.
Everything else is flair and all that. So I get when this generation say our football, I can't watch the PSL, but I work, it's my job to watch the PSL. I'll go watch. There are days, Lynn, now when I go to matches and I'm like, fuck am I watching? Excuse me. So yes. But one of the things that gets me to like what we do here, and sometimes I get very angry with coaches who come here and say to our boys, don't do this. I'll give you an example. Skarangobese, the late Skarangobese.
Black Jesus.
It's just different class.
Yeah.
When he played under Ted Dumitru. So Ted Dumitru almost came to South Africa and understood how we are.
He wrote the book.
Dumitru understood that a South African guy is going to want to do a show me your number before he goes forward.
Yeah.
But he allowed Skara to do that. But I think he set him down because if you remember that 2001? No, when I remember that match, the 5-1 when they beat Cosmos in the Coca-Cola Cup and all that. That Skara was at his best under Ted. And then enter Ernst Middendorp. And Skara is different because to Ernst Middendorp, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I get that. Sean Bartlett, for example, comes back from England, Charlton Athletic.
Yeah.
Where he smashed them in. He makes a run, he gets a pass.
Goes, yeah.
And he complained. He says, I'm making a run and this boy Scar. Remember that thing he does?
Yeah.
And Sean is like, I need the pass. So yes, exposure to what they do in Europe makes a lot of people who then watch South African football to say, but what are we doing?
I like what you're talking about there with exposure, because I think there's two things that I want to touch on.
Yeah.
So the first one is exposure. Do you think that, Prajex, because everything opened up and you could now compare this football and do all of that, do you think that we somehow absorb the values of the outside world, especially with the new kids? And now, even when you look at our own football, like you were saying now, I know I'm a Chiefs supporter, for example. I know a Chiefs that was flashy, but they were winning trophies.
Yeah.
I know a Sundowns that wins trophies. They've got the most trophies, I think, in the PSL era, right? It was very effective.
Yeah.
How much of that is maybe we're too close to home with it, that you see it every day, but then Kakwa, Hari bua ka di matches tsa Kako, you're only being exposed to City. Rarely, we're not watching Bournemouth and those guys.
Yeah. I think so. I think you're right that also contributes. La Liga, for example, everybody talks about how great it is, but the reality of it is we only really
No one's watching Cadiz.
No one will watch. Where's Racing Santander, for example, and they probably are at that level of your Sikukune and all that. So yeah, it's exposure does that. But also what has happened to our football is we've brought, is it import or export? We brought coaches from outside.
Yeah, we've imported them.
We've come in and said to our boys, don't do that. I mean, the other day people were complaining about Pirates. I think when Pirates were playing and they were passing the ball and Owadu was not even happy and all that. And people said it's showboating, but it's not. For me, showboating is that thing, yaunamela bolo and but if the team is passing, sometimes like a lot of people criticize Sipho Mbuluri passes to the side, he's not effective going forward. It's for South Africa. I think a lot of the older generation will tell you. Give the example, Chiefs were winning trophies. They would do all those things. Jomosono would step on the ball and Ainamel, but then he goes forward.
Yeah.
They go and attack. So I think there were quite a few kids who entertained for the sake of it. I mean, I'm reminded of Zongo, for example.
Yeah, Zongo Maspusane.
Zongo was like just my pencil, but the crowd got
Moskapi.
excited. The crowd got excited. But yeah, when you look at them, what have they really done in football? Pretty much nothing.
So like, where's our? So I get leagues have differentiated themselves, like in leagues. So England is like this. It's a more fast-paced, physical league. La Liga is said to be more technical. Italy's been more tactical, right, in a slow and a defensive game. In terms of differentiation, PSL, how does it differentiate itself just as a league? What is the PSL, if you were to say?
Does it have to differentiate itself?
Well, when I say not necessarily okay, what is
the calling card?
What's
the
its
thing?
thing? Yeah, what its thing? What is it known for? Because I gave you my perspective. What is your perspective? I shape in the PSL. What is this thing?
I think perception is very interesting.
Okay.
Because I think our league gets painted with a brush that everybody feels as though, like the showboating conversation.
Yeah.
Everybody speaks about the showboating conversation. Karaki Phillies games.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen that much.
Yes.
So like, for example, if I watched Thierry Henry,
Yes.
we are Arsenal fans. If I watched Thierry Henry and they only showed me highlights of Thierry Henry and they said I must go watch the English Prem at that time, I would have a completely different idea to what it actually is on a daily basis. You'd probably see Skop and Donner, and
Not technical.
it would be very different. So I think what's happening is there's a branding problem with the PSL, because I think it's if I was to give it an identity, I think they're very close to Spain in terms of technical ability. Our players are very technical. I know we lose it. So showboating. We don't call it press resistance. We call it showboating. Mara, I feel for the Natswara bolo. It's a solid.
Calming the game down, game management.
Game management. Look at how he doesn't lose the ball. That's some of the qualities that our guys have.
Yes.
And I think one of the problems that we have in the PSL or South African football is the definitions of it. That, I think the difference between a Spain and here is that the book on Spain it's got a little bit more. You can speak about the actual, like they've named the tactics, they've got fathers of what.
Yes.
With the PSL, I can bet you if we started doing things like saying that this football, it's all home. It's Mlazi and the history of Mlazi with Amazulu. I think once we start codifying our football, it would seem smarter. I think the problem is that we don't feel like it's smart.
And I think this like the term, I never use the term showboating because it's a term that was actually brought by these coaches from outside, European white coaches, actually, who just did not like that. There was a time we played, was it England or somebody, and they would say, "Oh, we are disrespecting."
No, it was Spurs. Tottenham had Spurs.
Glenn Hoddle. Or we are disrespecting, but that's how we play. I'll tell you when we then in the early 90s when we got back into international football. Clive Barker, the late Clive Barker, this screamer actually it started Kabraste, who said, Vana Doctor, Ridlala Majida.
Yeah.
When the game starts, take the ball, do your thing, get the crowd excited, we are messing the opposition up. Clive Barker took that. So that's who we are. We win our fans by this entertainment, whether it's taking us forward or not. It doesn't matter. But once we've done that, then we can play. So I agree. We as a country, what we don't do is almost take ownership. Look at Sundowns. Brasten, way back in the 80s, went to Italy.
yeah.
He didn't even understand what they're saying, Shushan and piano, whatever. He came back and he coined it. And Sundowns played that way. It's more, I mean, I remember when they were double action Sundowns, they then coined something called double class. They passed the ball, you play twice, you pass. So now, because we don't do that, I mean, Bargenko, Italy, what was that thing that they called when they defended those kind of things? You understand? So you are right. Or if we were to take ownership and say, this is what we do, this is...
But I want to jump, projects. I want to jump onto Talefang's side a bit here. You've spoken about how it was very closed off and we're playing essentially amongst ourselves, apartheid.
Yes.
Do you think that immediately when you came out of apartheid, we still had the advantage of it being so concentrated and so strong, the football or the idea of the football? And then as we went along, now we've also diluted that now you've had your influences, and they're all changing it. Do you think that plays into it? Because we were actually having this conversation the other day where I said that, how Tsakokasi, the lineup, the play, why. All the coaches understand it.
Yeah.
Everybody, like when we were growing up, it was a 4-4-2. You knew what each person does, and it felt like our football had a proper identity all the way through. Is now the reason why it's getting so diluted? Is it a consequence of also that
being exposed to that? I think so. I think a lot of it. It's adapting. We if you remember, especially with the national team, when we started, we were doing very well.
Yeah.
At those times, but we always struggled against European opposition.
Yes.
I remember the first time we ever won. I was at that match, Sweden, when we first ever beat. The first time we ever won a match against European opposition at Loftus Nomvete scoring. So yes.
Encyclopedia.
We've done that. So we, like you say, you are so right. I mean, you could call a Kaizer Chiefs team always 4-4-2.
Yes.
Now the game changes. We see what they do in Italy. We see what they do in England, and because we bring those coaches, you speak of. Mohsin Edugral comes in and he says, "No, let's do this way." Then suddenly, Babulela got 3-5-2. Talk about
wing backs, man. The wing backs,
those kind of things.
Transition.
So we move.
counterpress.
You are then moving away from what is essentially our natural way of doing things.
So if we're struggling against,
No. But before you go there, I want to ask you. Wait, before you go there.
Yeah.
From your perspective, does importing those ideas make our football better? Or if we hadn't imported, do you think we would maybe be at a place where we're very strong?
Look, you know what's funny? I was thinking of the exact same question, right? If we just kept things in-house and tried to sharpen our tools that we have here, whatever we have here that we're strong at, that we know that we are strong at, right? If we sharpen that tool, maybe we could be better. But also, if we're stuck in our own little cocoon and we don't compare ourselves to anybody else, we're trying to compete with the world, right? I think what happened was we took what the world is doing and we just thought plug and play, it will work. And not necessarily. Because just physiologically as players, environment, upbringing, so when we think that we can bring whatever tactics and ways of doing things from England, from Spain, from Italy, from Netherlands, and we wear mokas, it's not going to necessarily work. I think what should have happened is take some things from there that you think we could import and apply contextually in our people, and then refine it with what we already know, right? So I don't know even how we haven't taken time to study and note things down and say this and then the third has put us at a disadvantage, because I don't think we fully know what we're actually good at and what we're bad at necessarily. all I can do is compare it. Oh no, decision making here. Because what? Even just on my TikTok and so on and so forth. But hey, decision at PSL, it's not the one. Even you talk about decision making, right? So now, why are we not making good decisions? Are we making bad decisions? Or are we just taking too long to make the right decision? What is it?
I think for me, you know where I stand on this. It all comes down to marketing. I think we've been told so long that football is better and Europe has invested in.
Is it invalid?
The reason why I wanted to ask you is that you were speaking about, scoring 5 goals and winning. That barely happens. Even that side,
Europe,
it barely happens. Some of them make the worst mistakes. I mean, you can highlight some of the players that we put onto the top. Vinicius Jr. Vini is a very mistake-prone player. Mohamed Salah, we put him on top because of Liverpool. They say so when you look at the balance of it, yes, PSL might be a little bit more messier, but I can't automatically put those things on top. And I think, again, for me, it's because of the marketing. Like, I genuinely believe that we think differently about the PSL if we saw Collins Besuma's 40 goals a little bit more. We saw, because those are the marketing points that sell the rest of the league. You get what I mean?
Okay,
like,
the narrative sharp. Okay.
I could literally say, you look at La Liga, Prachex, you look at Barcelona and Real Madrid, those are the two, right? Every time they face anybody else, most of the time, 2-0, 3-0. I could make the argument that league is poor outside of 3 teams. You get what I mean? Again, it's marketing. Because you haven't watched. That's why I haven't watched Cadiz versus Levante. You get what I mean? I can't speak about that. But all I know is that there's 3 teams that play against all the other teams and they chow them. Get half ground.
It's that. It's those leagues where you know who's going to win the league. Doesn't matter what happens. It's those 3. I mean, you remember there was that time when in Scotland, it's either Glasgow Celtic or Glasgow
the Rangers,
those kind of things. So yeah. What you were saying about have we taken things from outside and just brought them here? I think the biggest challenge is, as you're saying, is as South Africa, we just have not taken ownership. We've had so-called SAFA technical directors over the years, but they've never really given direction as to where is it that we are going with our football. You go to the clubs themselves, PSL clubs and all that, and this. We say we are South African, but you go to a Sundowns, for example, they'll have a Fleming, director of coaching. I mean, Kaiser Chiefs, they've got Kaiser Junior, technical director, and all those. And you sit and say, like Kaiser Chiefs, I mean, you said it. We grew up knowing it did not matter what year it was. The 70s when Chiefs were formed, they were the glamour boys. They played fancy, beautiful football. They scored. So Kaiser Chiefs always had a great striker who smashes them in. A Samara Kulu, a Sugar Mguyo. You spoke of Mbesuma who came. There was Fanny Matita, Shane McGregor. And then you had always in the middle a guy who's a superstar.
And then the guy who covers him.
You have, but I think over the years this has changed. And that's why Chiefs are no longer what they used to be. I think Mamelodi Sundowns, for some reason, they've managed to remain who they are. Okay, I feel now under Cardoso Sundowns is no longer the same. But it's that Sundowns Brasten from the 80s.
Funny enough, the Pirates Brasten Leon.
A defender who knows how to play the ball from the back. And you're right. He went to Pirates and changed that. So in a way, we have a way that we play South African football. Yeah, you speak about the other clubs, and it's the same the world over. If you think of it, you go to Spain, it's those top 3 and the rest. You go to England, you go to Italy. So it's that, and those are the clubs that should be defining what our football is. So I get that the young generation are exposed to what they see. I'll watch. I will be watching an English Premiership match. And when you switch to PSL, it's almost like we're playing in slow motion. It's and I think that's what, and also it's also little things. You speak of marketing. It's the ambience.
It's very important.
You watch a football match. I've been blessed to go. I mean, I've traveled all those stadiums. I've been there. There's there's an effort that
Yeah.
they make to, you know, you want to go to the stadium. They do so many things that sell this package. I mean, the world over, everybody knows about the English Premiership because they've sold it.
Yes.
So we that's where we are.
We haven't
lacking.
sold it to
So
ourselves.
what can we sell? What can we sell
I-
that can draw people into our
I actually wanted to ask this question.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask this question. Yes, now we've opened up. We've got all these people coming in, the exposure. We've got
Yes.
social media. From my perspective, it feels as though the teams have gotten further away from the people as well.
Yeah.
So, for example, I remember when I was growing up, there were times where teams were doing unnecessary things. I watched Kaizer Chiefs versus Ajax Cape Town, Kotema Stadium, because they were on some tour before the season.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, even just that thing, I got to sit down and I was watching these guys, and it felt like they were my team. It's the same as when my father tells stories. Tema, so Kimang Teenage Dadla was from there. The Ewetle Lipnene story.
The horse and all. Yeah.
You know, Kesh is still a coach there.
Yeah.
Like, it felt as though man football nearly like, you know how English people, when they speak about their
Community
teams,
driven.
it feels like
Yeah.
they know the guys.
It's us.
Would you say
It's
that
we.
maybe that answers a little bit of your question, that I don't think the teams and the PSL, even through the marketing, are doing enough to make it closer to us, to make us feel like. So when I'm in the Eastern Cape, how close do I feel to Chipa when Chipa's the only team there? How close do I feel to Cheers Galaxy? You know,
I mean, I was speaking about that just now, about Bafana that has just left for AFCON, that they've pushed away from us. When 1996 happened, when we won, just as a journalist, we were so close to the team.
Yeah.
We were allowed access to them. We could write about them. We could.
Yeah.
This current Bafana is so far away. The only time you get close to them is at a press conference where they give you the coach and the captain, and they even tell you how many questions to ask. So that's, and you're talking of the clubs. If you remember the Pirates and the Chiefs pre-seasons, when Chiefs were in the Netherlands.
yeah.
Remember
yeah.
how
Yeah.
the kids would come onto the pitch, take
Yes.
pictures.
Oh, yeah,
Never
yeah,
happened
yeah,
at
yes.
home. Pirates, when they were in Spain, they played at those small grounds. Now, when I'm going to sound old. I nearly said when we grew up, but yes, I come from Libohom. Kaiser Chiefs used to come, your Tsepo Malatedi, your Ice Kumane, Pasadlala Chiefs under 21, and they would come to those. So the clubs were accessible.
Yeah.
So now they are so far removed. It's little things. They have their own media, and they tell their own stories. We in the media are no longer even able to help tell those stories. Now, when you're going to tell it from your own side, it's just going to be very, very biased, very PR type. So you are right. I think what you were asking, what can we sell? They don't seem to see that they need us. I'll tell you something.
They need us as in who? The fans?
People.
The media?
Yeah, both ways. They are not close to the fans anymore. We suggested the other day, just before Bafana left, we were speaking to Nina. We said, Mchana, we call him Mchana. Mchana, how about when Bafana train one session, open it up for the fans?
Yes.
We are going away.
Yeah.
You develop that whole, this is our team.
Yes.
We don't have that anymore. The clubs are so far removed from the fans there. So it's very hard to, that's why it's easier for people to then say, I'll watch Spanish football.
And they feel closer. The overseas teams feel closer.
Actually, they do.
Like the
And yet they are
Actually,
so far
there's
away.
I always use the example of the channels.
Of the
The channels.
Okay.
202, 203. 202 is PSL.
Yes,
203 Ki Premier League. When you sit just during the day and you watch just the full day of what's happening on 203, it's nostalgia.
History.
It's behind the scenes with the players. It's, you feel as though you feel like you live in London.
yes.
I've never.
But I'm sure now I can remember the documentaries, the Bucks Camp.
Yeah, but no.
It's an attempt.
That's so
to
true. But
do
it's just
that.
the one club that's doing that. I've been in the industry for years. In fact, I've traveled. I've been blessed to go to your England. Basic things. When in England, when Arsenal play, say Liverpool, I was at a match at the Emirates. I don't remember who Arsenal were playing. And they did a simple thing, bruh. They got a player from these two clubs, old players, and just pre-match, they are on the pitch. They interview these guys. They're talking about old days. We are listening. So you are George, you are young, you don't know about the Invincibles. You get to that, you get to know about it. I mean, Orlando Pirates got 1973 won everything. Everything.
Did you know that Paris fan?
People don't
Brother,
know. But
I will tell you now I know so much more about the Premier League.
the English Premier League.
History, the Premier League.
Yes.
For what's happened, who the legends Kibomang of all these clubs. PSL.
You don't but it's because they don't.
Mhlangana phezu kwayo, Kaluna, Bojoji, Bomangmang. As you listen to ex-pros, you're like, oh, this happened. Oh, this happened.
But let me tell you also why the club owners are very jealous of their former players. They don't. I promise you. So if you get in and it's a South African thing. If you sort of become almost bigger than the club, not necessarily you can never be bigger than the club.
But you're the guy.
If the club realizes or you are, I promise you, they put you aside. I mean, we have situations where I walk to the Orlando Stadium, and there's a former Pirates player asking for tickets to get into the players into the stadium.
Crazy.
So you understand. So and you then are not going to even get buy-in from these very players who played for you. But if you did that, if you still, you don't have to pay them anything. You don't owe them anything. But we all, none of us has ever seen Bobby Charlton play. I saw 1966.
Yeah.
And remember how when you watch the Manchester United match on TV,
They make
without fail, they'll show Sir Bobby Charlton in the
He's got a whole stand.
those two brothers who had the Bobby and Jack.
Yeah.
They always showed them.
Yeah.
But here at home, once you stop playing, the clubs is bye-bye. They don't even want anything to do with you.
So they're completely, the DNA gets ripped apart.
I'll take
because
it.
once you've played, hofedile. So now, because how work are the ex-pros? The ex-pros, all these clubs, they always have somebody that is representing the club from a global perspective, from a local perspective, all of them, right? And you start getting to hear these stories, and then you feel attached to them.
But also, besides feeling attached, it's the baseline.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like if I don't know English football and I just look at a team and you tell me about a team, there's a baseline that tells me how to feel about that team.
Okay, what do you mean?
The Invincibles.
Yes.
If I want to support Arsenal, the first story they'll tell me is the Invincibles most probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sets the baseline of my expectation of what's going to happen here.
With United, it's the 90s kids,
Yeah.
the group of kids, Beckham, very great.
So if I want to support Chiefs, what's my baseline?
the Toma guy.
Or if I want to support Pirates, what's my baseline? People were shocked, Parajex, when I told them, guys, PSL era. Chiefs and Pirates are not league players. They're not even close to being important teams in the league.
Yeah.
Sundowns is the one.
are.
And Sundowns fans only know about the last 8. They don't know that within the
Before
league,
that, there was the 3 Ted.
there was a 3
and
Bobo,
Doleza.
Igasand,
So
all
you
of
see
those,
that,
we don't know that. So we don't have a basis. So when a kid is trying to get into the PSL,
Yes.
I mean, we didn't get into Arsenal because of what was happening at Arsenal at that point.
No.
You were told.
You were told kind of stories. Thierry Henry. Mine was Thierry Henry.
Yeah,
Thierry Henry. What? And you're like, oh, okay, carry this
But that's why
team
now,
vibes
so,
with me.
So yeah, and you are right. Like your generation will not know an essence.
Yeah,
for example.
my parts. We don't know.
Which is
Rutlile, yeah.
yes, which is so that's why I'm going that what happens with the owners of the club is exactly instead of piggybacking on these guys who have made their club successful, they sort of just
Sideline them.
Yeah.
and that's the challenge. A Patson Banda, for example, great legend of Orlando Pirates. You at least Pirates they try. I know one of the things they when players get there, they will brief you a bit about this is, they give you jersey number, whatever. So and I think those are the things that the clubs should be talking about, because then Luena as a fan, you're like, oh, I'll gravitate towards this because of this. But it's almost like there's no pride in their heritage of sorts. I don't know why.
Because for now, you know, I'm at a point where we talk about we. Let's say Arsenal supporter. Yeah, our fiercest rival, Tottenham Hotspur. We're like, oh, our rival.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, but I'm at a point. I'm like, what do you mean our rival? Like
The closest London ki East London.
Honestly speaking,
The closest one.
Mara, I'm just like, no, Mara, Pirates iki. So I became a Pirates fan because of my mother, right? The time I got swai.
Your father knows football.
Let's swai down.
Tlapego.
Dobson V. You know?
Dobsonville,
You know, so Tamalaga
George Koch Stadium.
he's that guy, right? So, like I don't know, Masai is not sexy. No.
Yeah, but because you don't know what happened way back then.
So now
I'll
the
even take it.
1980 Men's Day Cup final between Chiefs and Rams. The greatest match that's ever been played in
Uta.
South Africa. 5-5.
Uta, right? So now
I know about that game, but I only know Kari from my dad.
So now, even that, when you talk about feeling attached to this thing, because there was an attachment to Pirates, but still I wasn't really engaged in it that way,
Yeah.
right? And it makes me sad as a fan, South African fan. Hore, I want to care
Yeah.
how Pirates ijewa. Like I want to feel,
Yeah, no, we lost.
Jelo. I want to care when our national team ijewa, because I'm like, it's my national team. Because I when I watch international tournaments, fans are crying that their country lost. And I'm like,
Do you know what's crazy?
you know,
I'll even take it a step further. I don't even think they're doing things modern-wise to bring fans on board. So I'll give you an example. Manchester United bought Harry Pinero. Harry Pinero is one of the famous he's a famous social media guy, famous content creator, famous Man United
Joey
fan.
Boyega for
Out
Arsenal.
loud.
Yes.
And they say, come spend a week with Manchester United.
Yes.
Shoot content, we'll pair it with a sponsor or whatever. And that's how you reach the new
This
ones.
one.
You know,
Yes,
do favor Pirates. Every day, just keep us a Pirates.
Izinja.
At some
Different
point,
ones even,
Pirates
you know?
should be like, look, you guys who are making a noise and speaking, come. We'll give you an
Connect
experience.
us.
We'll put you on the pitch. We'll do all of those things. I mean, I had a conversation with a certain team. I won't say the name, but I was telling them that, you know, there's people who come to your stadium every day. There's people, famous people, when they walk past, famous content creators, when they walk past, people wave. That's your in. That's your in.
Into this people.
That's your in to your people.
Yeah,
And they know they've got the culture, they understand it, or
Yes,
at least what it
yes.
is now.
Yeah.
They don't even do that. You know, to go back to what you're speaking about, you want to care about the national team. Ronwen saved 4 penalties.
Bruv.
Go AFCON. I have not seen a replay projects of that thing.
Historical.
We should be being bombarded.
You
by
know,
those things now.
especially
We are
now.
building up to this
Yeah.
AFCON. But but you see, that's where I'm going. Ore. You spoke of marketing. That's the biggest problem. They just don't get it. They don't know what will sell. It's how do we get Julio, my son, to support Bafana Bafana? How, like what you're saying. These kids, there's a YouTube sensation go Euro ISO Speed.
Oh, Speed. Yes,
I mean,
Speed.
Speed was
Yeah,
playing
I
a
show
match
Speed.
with all these
Yeah.
top players because they know it's youngsters.
That's the unlock.
I have this little 6-year-old who watches ISO Speed, who knows
My
Ronaldo,
kid.
who understand. So why is it that we don't do that here? Yes, the traditional way of doing things still stays because you'll keep those. But how? Mamelodi Sundowns, for example, they've, as you say, the most successful team in the Premier League era, but they're still not bringing in new people.
So is it a okay? When we say they are not they suffer.
All of them.
They get the leagues.
When it comes to the national team, Kisafa, but
Yeah.
the clubs themselves, the league itself. So there's quite a lot of different things. Look at what Pirates are doing with Giants and all.
Yes.
The chairman, when I speak to the chairman, you can hear he is aware of. He knows social media. He understands where these people are. He's doing it for his club. But the rest of the other clubs are not. I mean, Kaizer Chiefs. I've always said, I don't. You, George, you've traveled. One of the things that gets to me about our clubs is you go to Real Madrid, you do the stadium tour, Santiago Bernabeu.
Yes.
As you walk through,
There's the trophy
it's the
room.
trophy room.
there's the-
But what is happening? The there's audio,
Yeah.
there's video of Ferenc Puskas playing.
Yeah.
I promise you, by the time you walk out of that tour, you are a real
Yes.
I went to Brazil, Sao Paulo. They do that.
Let's talk about
Why is it that
Context
there's
level.
no way I haven't been Fanak? I haven't been to Italy and Argentina, but I've traveled for years, and I'm like, why is it you?
So okay, is it neglect? Is it they don't see the value? Is it what is it?
I can tell you.
Oh, about over.
The conversation that we always have here, and it's I think it's a mental thing. We think the football does the talking. We think what happens on the pitch will automatically roll
Used
into
to in the
everywhere.
past,
Yeah.
and I think maybe they are stuck there. But like, I will go to Pirates. I think Yonkosana and his younger brother,
Boom, yeah.
they seem to be moving with the times. I think slowly they will do that. I worry about Kaiser Chiefs. I mean, if you look at it, it's all Kaiser Chiefs will remain one of the. I think it's still one of the biggest brands in everything. But slowly, Pirates are catching
10 years
up,
from now.
and Chiefs are staying behind. But that whole thing, it goes to you don't own your stadium. Because if these people owned their stadiums, they would be able to do all the. But I went to Liverpool. My ex-wife had one trip, whatever. People went to the stadium for birthdays. On not match day. A tour of the
Just
stadium.
an
It's a
experience.
trip. You walk through. I don't care who you are. I went to Leeds United and I got out. When you they give you this tour, you see the pitch, you see everything, you see the trophy room. When you get out, do you know the last place where you get out is the shop? They've got you.
Yeah.
You are going to buy.
Yeah.
I bought my son was about to be born in 2000, and I bought him those baby grows. Leeds United.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucas was still playing.
Yeah.
Why is it that those clubs make money out of their
And that's
Out of curiosity, so maybe you guys can school me. Why don't we own our stadiums?
I
we're
think
not
that clubs,
allowed to.
No.
Is it that municipality thing, isn't it?
No, you can build your own stadium. Brak once bought a
Like
land
on-
ko
on-
Kagiso
yeah,
kwa-
ko Kagiso, yeah.
because they were supposed to build.
The
They
right
still
stadium,
haven't.
yes. So
No, I don't think no one. No.
What's happening? Why?
Maybe they don't see the value.
Yeah.
I honestly think a Kaiser Chiefs and Orlando Pirates should be having their own stadiums. But
Yes.
but there's probably, I don't know why they don't. I don't think there's any rule that stops them from doing it. Because then when you do look at why your Liverpools and all these clubs are as big as they are. Liverpool,
Yes.
You wake up, you get born, baby grow ya Liverpool. You just
If you're missing, you're
It's a
missing.
thing, yeah.
it's your club.
Yes.
We don't have that here. And yeah, we can go back to issue Jabo apartheid or there were no stadiums. But you come from Pretoria, you're a Blue Bulls fan. It's
there.
entrenched. So nothing stops us. Orlando Stadium, Gia municipality. If I were the chairman, I would buy that stadium and own it so fully that it's Orlando, it's ours.
Technically.
Yeah, I know.
No, can't say
You
it.
see, but that's where I'm going. I'm saying own it so much so that you are not going to have this nonsense that we have. But there's a prayer meeting at Orlando, therefore Pirates can't play here because it's your stadium.
Yes.
And then it will go to that thing that they do all over the world where I'm Tlalefang, I'm a Pirates fan. Goreka seat number 16 ko Romamang. That's my seat for the whole year.
Season ticket. Yes.
We don't have those things. Chiefs tried it when they used to play at Johannesburg Stadium, and it used to be beautiful. Wednesday nights at Chiefs at Joburg Stadium, Chiefs would play their matches, and fans. Because
you've already bought the ticket
Be a
also.
stampede. I already got the ticket.
So since now you're here, another question.
Wait, but I just wanted to say, finish the piece. Okay, no, go for it.
Ambience is an important thing, right? When you watch the Premier League, all these leagues, the stadium, the kids, you're saying it makes you want to go there,
No, there's a reason.
right?
It's the smaller. It doesn't happen. Remember, also, there's the blackout. That it's very.
Yes, which I no. Before Onzana Molekhanum Church, what is it? Because the ticket, the pesel Khaditur.
That's very relative, though.
Well, okay, relative. You're right, be relative.
I could rather buy 5 kilogram ace than
Give a
a
shot.
ticket to-
So why are we struggling to fill the stadium outside of The derby. Why?
I was going to say there's a lot of factors. One, like for example, I used the example earlier about Chiefs playing Ajax go Tema Stadium. It's a walk away. I can walk from my house to Tema Stadium and we can go watch. Yeah. So if you're going to go to any stadium here, most of the time, you have to plan a whole trip, right? Number one. Number two, the blackout is very important.
In the Premier League, yes, for sure.
Because you can't watch it.
Unless you go to the stadium.
I'd much rather than
I don't think there's a
book my
blackout
seat
in La Liga or thingy. But
no. But what I'm saying is, I don't have the option. Even with us, when SABC could only show you 2 matches in the weekend, I'd much rather go to the stadium because must I wait for Monday, Soccer Zone for somebody to tell me about it. So that also creates a level of demand for me. But then also, I think, again, goes back to the excitement around whatever you're playing. Like, who's the player at Kukune that is the guy? You know, my father used to tell me about, was it Blackpool? Blackpool, and he would say, shoes, and it'd say Blackpool shoes. I've got a link.
Black Aces, you had Harris Chew or Thomas Ngobe.
You know, Rudzani Ramudzuli, Mulondo Shikuvelu. I don't know those guys. They move too much even, but I don't know who is being sold to me to go and watch on a weekend to say,
But it also goes, you speak Sikukune. I sometimes it pisses me off that they call themselves a Limpopo club because
most of the clubs are based here.
So that's the challenge. At TS Galaxy, for example, they do everything here. And that weekend you want.
Doesn't make sense.
So there's a thing that, I pray Baroka come back to the PSL. Because that old man, he's created, that club is from Rampatlele, but the camp, everything is Kulwa home. He's even built a stadium where they play. It probably will not be good enough. But we have an affinity to that club. You walk to the shopping center, you bump into a player, Yabaro.
Yeah.
That whole, and then there's a few kids who come from our township. So it's exactly that the clubs have sort of lost a connection.
They've been detached from the
They're very detached, and that's the challenge. Kaiser Chiefs, they're in Naturena. It's like, who goes to
Naturena?
Who goes there? It's so far removed. They play, like you say, they play at FNB. The issue is crowd. Chiefs, for example, Chiefs play almost every weekend to crowds that 20, close to 20, 30,000. But because it's at the FNB stadium,
it looks like a hall. Yes.
And that's the challenge.
Meanwhile, Luton Town Stadium is like 10,000.
Yeah. So why is it that you don't build? They don't have to build big stadiums. Like you say, we are blessed in South Africa. The World Cup helped us, but we always had big stadiums. You save those for your big derbies, and you say, like you say, play at Kwatema Stadium. Play at Bikoko. Bargaining that stadium so be known, but they don't do that. And because of that, the connection is gone. And I think the sad thing is, I've interviewed quite a few of the club bosses. They don't care. You know why? They make money out of
sight. Yeah. Yes.
Somebody in football told me, no, whether you guys come or not.
Yeah. The money, the check is cleared.
That's the challenge.
Wait a minute. What do you mean?
The TV deal. So Akere, we're only league that has a TV deal where every team gets the same amount of money. So when you're budgeting, you don't necessarily have to have stadiums full or all of that stuff. You just take from the deal that you got every month. I think it's 2.5. They get that every month. So even when your marketing activities and stuff doesn't really matter.
TV deal.
It doesn't affect your team.
It doesn't affect what you get.
So no matter what.
No matter what.
Whereas in the past, and the chairman likes to say that we were nice. Because in the past, how did it work? It was a 50-50 or no, it was before the home team will get the money and whatever. So clubs used to know our Chiefs are coming, we are going to coin it.
Jomo used to say that, but Jomo used to say that a lot. When you're playing Chiefs, you smile to the bank.
So, but it also goes to the history of our country. The big clubs were Pirates, Swallows, and Chiefs, essentially.
Yes.
Later on, it was just those two. And it's not changing. I think that's what saddens me. And it goes to that thing that I was saying, that the clubs do not belong somewhere. And this whole, today is Super Sport, tomorrow is Magazine.
Yes.
That's also messing us up, because then there's no... So Chiefs and Pirates are so entrenched that they are look like I said. Look at Sundowns. They keep winning and winning. Mamelodi Sundowns. Where do they play their matches? At Trechville.
When's the
When you
All Loftus.
when you have a stadium in Mamelodi.
Yeah.
Understand? So those are the little things that rob us. So we look at the Europeans and envy them, but it's because, like I say, you get born in Dortmund.
But the only thing I wanted to say here, because of time, my thing was, remember that these things happen for a reason. There's a reason why you see Haaland all the time, or those goals, or whatever. There's a reason why there's rights given, or maybe you can post it on your TikTok or whatever, and they won't chase you. There's a reason why stadiums are full. There's a lot of reasons, but we still believe that the football is going to bring everything. But we're not saying that, okay, once you've got the football down, how do you make a boring team look great to everybody?
So, guys, we are competent individuals. Right? The reason we're here and there. We're not entrenched in the boardrooms. We're not entrenched with the marketing departments. We don't know these things. We're not there with them. If we're not at one of these things, very low-hanging fruit. They just don't care.
Why do they mix it? So our clubs
Okay.
that a lot of our clubs are family owned. A lot of them. I've had people who've worked at the clubs who will tell you, you can't say anything because you work there, you can come as Talifang, who has these ideas. If you're not a Mataung, you're not a Khoza, you're not a Madlala or
Zungu, or
I mean, I've seen
everyone.
Listen, there's a Kuri where I want to show you our clubs are just like going down. Magesi FC. They had a media officer. That kid was very competent. The daughter of the owner comes in and starts taking over. That girl had to leave the club. So that's the biggest challenge. That there's this whole. It's a family. They're almost all PSL clubs are family business.
Yeah.
So it's that dynamic. I mean, I went Baroka, for example. The son, Chairman Kurish Mphatlele is the media office. They invite us to big invite, social media. They were going to launch some sponsorship. Very exciting. We go, we get there. He posts nothing on that. So those are the little things that tell you that the clubs are not prepared to sort of pay. Not all of them, of course, but you pay for expertise.
Yes.
But they don't do it because why should I when my son can do it?
And it's effort. Why do extra effort when the money's rolling in anyway? Why do anything? Why hire officer and hire a team
If
and
already
get the cameras and
make it better?
Why?
Why should I put? Okay.
Why should I?
And again, separation of football and commercial.
Yes.
There should be a separation.
Yeah.
There should be like the owner of Man City doesn't even watch Man City. He sits at home.
Yeah.
In the UAE, he sits at home in the UAE, and there's people that are hired to do all of those things. The NFL, the owners sit on a board at the top, but the operations is completely separate, and they hire people to run that thing, experts to run that thing. What do you see? What's new?
Yeah.
What's that? But if there's three people between the coach and the chairman.
Yeah,
I mean,
already there's,
no,
there's too often there's not even
there's
nothing. You go straight to the chairman.
So Larry, at this point, is there any hope?
No, it's on purpose. So look at AFCON. I like what Tate Motsepe did with AFCON because one of the moves that he did was this opening it up, free to air. There's certain things that they're doing that people were calling stupid at the time and saying that they're going to lose money. And now you see that those small little things are what make a thing seem exciting, and then they start making money. So I think the sad thing about our football projects, I don't know if you agree, is that it's going to take some people who are super powerful, above, like you see how Tate Motsepe can walk into CAF and say, guys, nakin Tate Motsepe. And I'm going to tell you guys what to do, and you'll listen to me. I think you're going to need that type of revolution to happen, or it's going to have to really hit the teams financially. So the next TV deal is going to be very interesting. How Canal Plus King
think so,
negotiates
yeah.
that. Because if that goes, it might then force them to go and do
go
something
look at
different.
things catalyst.
differently. Yeah, I think you're right, and we don't know what Canal Plus are going to do.
Yes, yeah.
Are they going to be like Super Sport and just dish out, or are they going to say they've done it in different countries,
Yeah.
so they'll probably come. And you're right, it will take us back to way back then when the club owners knew I have to do something or else. So in a way, they'll be. I mean, you look at now, like every tender premier can buy a soccer club. That will have to end.
Yeah.
You need long term.
Because they do. I've had stories of guys calculate where people look at it as, they get 2.5 a month.
That's
Calculate,
salaries. That's
Yeah. And then they come in and they realize that, it doesn't really work.
Like
Like that.
that.
This
Yeah.
money is actually not enough. And then it starts dipping into his personal money at the tender. And then
Exactly.
that's
until it's
why
gone.
Administration,
2 years later he sells.
yeah.
And then we have clubs just changing names. And let's...
I think Spresile.
No, especially
Spresile. Guys, remember,
educated today.
it's not just about us speaking here. It's also about you guys. Tell us what you think in the comments. And go out and have these conversations outside, because as we always say, this is not a place where we're going to be right. It's a place where we put things on the table so we can have better discussions about our football. And hopefully, somehow, we can infiltrate some of the things that need to change as we go along. Guys, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Remember, Football Telefang, Overthinking Football. Projects, you'll see his work. Because Hana et projects. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Bye-bye,
We'll see you
guys.
guys on the next one.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think we should cut it so projects can.
Yeah.
I know projects doesn't want to.